Hey crafty people, it's Tasha. Welcome back to Tubby Craft's YouTube channel. If you aren't already, we'd love it if you could hit that subscribe button below, and you can ring the notification bell to get notified whenever we post a new video. Okay, this month over at Tubby Craft we are celebrating the festival of Diwali, so all of our projects for this month are themed around Diwali. So I started off for my first post this month. I wanted to use some of the beautiful stencils that Tubby Craft carry, along with this Nouveau Glacier paste. I have the gold and the silver. I'm not sure what the colour names actually are, but I think they're the only gold and silver that they do. But I may be wrong on that. I'll have the products listed below anyway. So I started with this beautiful floral stencil from the latest release. It's absolutely beautiful and it is very detailed. So I wanted to show you that despite how fine the details are in this, you can still use them with pastes of any sort, really, because a little bit of a spoiler, it comes out beautiful. So yeah, I tape my card to the stencil from behind so that I can go right the way across the stencil with no sort of gaps where the tape is or anything, and then I do actually tape my stencil to my glass mat. That's sort of two reasons for that. First of all, so that hopefully the stencil doesn't shift, and I could pull it up, and if there's a problem with it I could easily sort of lay it back down where it goes. Also, I have a habit of wandering out of the shot when I'm working, so that way it keeps me nicely in shot for everybody. So that's the other reason why I tape it there. So you want to smooth right the way across the stencil. When you are wanting to smooth across, as I'm doing now, I always hold my spatula, I think that's called, is it spatula, at quite a low angle to the stencil and the paper, and that just helps it sort of glide across and even everything out rather than sort of dig out the paste from any of the bigger areas. I did actually add a lot of paste into this. You can always add it, and just anything that you don't need, scoop back up and put it back in the jar, that's fine. But I wanted to show you a 2-for-1 kind of a technique, for which I needed there to be more paste left on the stencil after I picked it up. So as I said before, you can put any paste that you don't use back in the jar. You want to do that as quickly as you can, because this stuff will start to set quite quickly. You also need to be careful when you are putting it back in the jar, or even when getting it out of the jar, that you don't leave any paste on the screw portion of the lid or the bottle, because you could end up jar on the jar because you could end up not being able to open it. The other reason that I leave those pieces of tape on the side that I was using to tape my stencil, because they create like these little handles then that I can pick it up with and put it to dry. Fab. So here we are with the 2-for-1 technique. I've still got a lot of paste on my stencil, so I'm laying another piece of cardstock over the top of the stencil, making sure that I sort of give it quite a good rub all over, to try and get the best impression. And then when you lift it up, ta-da! Look at that! Oh, I love it. It's beautiful. You're not going to get as crisp an image as you will from the first stenciling, but you get, that's 2 for what normally you would just wipe off. You could in fact you could use some more of that that's on there if you wanted to. You could use, I'm just using a baby wipe to clean it. You could put another piece of like watercolor paper or mixed media paper underneath, so that as you are doing that, you are brushing that back onto the paper. But I decided not to do that today. You do need to be careful when you're cleaning off this stencil, because it is very intricate, very delicate. Well, not delicate because it's not going to break easy, but you could potentially, snap portions where on the flowers they're sticking out and they're a little bit pointy, so you do need to be careful how you are rubbing across it. But you need to make sure that you clean the stencil straight away, and anything else that you've used, your spatulas or whatever, because if you let this dry on your stencil, then that's it, you won't get it off, and you will ruin a perfectly good stencil, and we don't want that. So moving on now, this is actually the brick wall stencil, but I decided to do it on sort of a bit of an angle, just to see what that would look like, just to show you that as well, that you can, I did tape it down a little bit more there, because that it was lifting up a little bit too much off the cardstock. I didn't want to lose the impression of like from the stencil. But yeah, I just want to show you that even though this may have been made to be a brick wall, you can use these for anything. Stretch your supplies, get as much use as you can. Obviously, when you are purchasing supplies, you want to know that you can use them for more than one thing, and that you will get the use out of them. So that was part of what I wanted to show you today as well. So now we've moved on to the silver one, and I'm just doing the same again, smoothing it all the way across and making sure that I leave some paste over the portions of the stencils, sort of not scrape it completely off, so that I can hopefully get that second impression. So as I said, we are celebrating the festival of Diwali this month over at Tubby Craft. Personally, I'm someone who I don't follow Hinduism, but I wanted to understand a little bit better what the festival of Diwali is about. I love to learn other people's cultures and religions, and I think that that's needed in the world for us to understand each other better. I really think that is important. So I am very honoured that I've been, invited to celebrate this festival with the Tubby Craft design team, and I am very grateful and honoured for that. From what I could gather about the festival of Diwali, it is a celebration of good triumphing evil, and I feel that is of great importance in the world, especially right now. So yeah, I was very honoured to learn about this festival and have a glimpse into how it is celebrated, and it's beautiful. And yeah, I chose to add the gold and silver, because I felt that was a way that I could sort of take some of the things that I'd found online into my own projects for the month. So we've moved on to the geometric stencil now. Again, I have them all linked below, so that you can just click on it straight away to go and purchase anything that you decide you want to. If you see anything and you love it, then the links will all be below for you to go straight to get that. So I did a little bit of an experiment with this one. Don't have that much gold left, and I knew that I probably didn't have enough gold to do much more, and I wanted to see what would happen if I did gold and silver together, what that would come out like. So that's what I'm doing here. I splodged some of the gold on first, and then added some silver, just sort of random places, and then I am gently smoothing over with my spatula, but I sort of want them to blend, but I don't want to just smear the silver all the way over the gold. And then I did the impression again, and this one came out really good. Yeah, I was really happy with that one. I had some of the paste left on my spatula that I couldn't put back in the bottle, the jar, because it was like silver and gold mixed. So I just grabbed another panel. I'm just using Nina £80, Nina Classic Press Solar White £80 for all of these. I just like to have 80 panels already cut and ready to grab. You can see them a little bit in the top corner there. That's just a pile of panels so that I can grab as many as I might want if I suddenly think that I could use another. So yeah, I did. I just smeared the rest of that was left on the spatula over the card, but I just sort of did it in like a stripe diagonally, and then I'm going to get an impression again. Then I realised there was like little blobs of the paste on my glass mat everywhere, so I just like scrape them up and place them down on the stencil, see what would happen if I did that. And yeah, that impression, I sort of pressed it a few times. So here are some of the backgrounds that I made. I actually made a lot more backgrounds than I showed in the video, partially as well because unfortunately I had a bit of an issue with some corrupted film, so I did have to refilm it. These were the panels that I made the first time round. So now I have lots and lots of panels that I just like to put away to do whenever. So I've got backgrounds on hand. I love how that one came out, the silver bricks, beautiful. So the swirling floral stencil, which is from the latest release, I used that. I stacked up some letter die cuts to spell out Diwali, stacked them so that they're nice and thick, and that was that one. Then here is another card that I made. I sliced one of those geometric backgrounds in half. I used half of it for this card and half of it for that card. So the first one I cut it into stripes, and the second I just left it as one whole piece. I'll show you the stamp sets that I used for completing those cards. We have this one. I used those two floral images. It's called Bright Day. I also used sentiment from that for the first card. Embossed those onto vellum for that card, and then the other card I used the Let's Celebrate sentiment along with a flower. That's from the Adorable Runner stamp set, sorry. Along with a flower and a little bow that I tied. So those are the three cards that I made with the backgrounds that I made today. I'm going to quickly show you the other backgrounds as well, just to show you like how many backgrounds you can make in one sitting, and then yeah, they're great. They're really, really good. I like to have them on hand, and then I've got them if I just want to make some quick cards, which I will be doing, and I will be sure to post them online as well so that you can see them. Thank you very much for spending this time with me today. All the links for my social media and Tubby Crafts will be below. I have my own YouTube channel. If you are interested in checking that out, that will be linked below. And I hope that you have a lovely and safe week. And I am wishing you a Diwali that brings happiness, prosperity and joy to you and your family. Thank you very much for spending this time with me today. Stay crafty. Bye.